So courtesy of one of my patrons, I'm going to be covering a video by one of the cast members of The Big Bang Theory. Naturally, I need to get ready for that. Perfect. So which one is it?
I'm going to be annoying right now.
Oh, it's not even the cool one. It's the one obsessed with attachment parenting. Dear God. Well, we all know what I'm going to need for this.
Alright, so first we gotta start up with the bread. And then we put a bit of mayo on it. Then we put the salami, the mortadella, the capicola, and the provolone. Now we need to get some vegetables on here. We put the tomatoes, and we put the onion, and the sour pickles, and the lettuce. We gotta put a little red wine on there. Then we sprinkle a bit of salt, and then we top it off with a nice piece of white bread. Then we can put a toothpick through it. And let's put that little olive on top, just to be more fancy.
That delightful sandwich was provided by Huffleruff. Please go subscribe, channel link below. Now, Mayim Bialik, what is it that's so annoying?
I want to talk about something that a lot of people don't want to talk about.
Cool. Do you know what I'd like to see? I would like to see an attachment parent advocate, so you, debate a free-range parent advocate. I can imagine the debate being utter chaos.
I was recently at a bar with two guy friends who are about 40, and one of them said to the other, "Oh my God, dude, look at that girl sitting at the bar. She's beautiful."
Pics or it didn't happen.
And I start looking around, wondering why they would let a child into the bar.
Have you ever heard of dad humor? You know, jokes only dads find funny that are incredibly cheesy. If told the right way, what you just said falls into the bracket of mom humor, but from dad humor because it's cringy. And I don't know many moms that tell jokes like dads do.
Then I realized that when he said girl, he meant woman. But since she's in that super narrow age range between 5 years old and 55 years old, we just don't know what to call her.
Oh, I get it. What you're basically trying to do with some sarcasm, because, you know, being in the Big Bang Theory makes you an expert on comedy, kind of police language but not, by merely suggesting that the word girl should only be synonymous with young girls, rather than with people that fall into that bracket, that very narrow window you provided. By the way, boys were called girl up until the mid-15th century, I'm just want to add that.
So we call her a girl.
The same applies to boys and men. It's quite common. I don't really see a problem with it.
Sorry, folks, I have to do this.
Be a dick.
We have to stop calling women girls.
Why?
Why?
Yes, that's what I said. Why?
Because it matters what we call people. Language matters. Words have meaning.
You're right. How we address each other in certain environments or cultures or societies is important as long as we respect the society or the culture. Calling someone a girl when they are a woman isn't really an insult, but I get your point that language matters, although I would go so far as to say nothing matters. Hashtag no lives matter. Hashtag Cthulhu 2020. I'm starting early this time.
And the way we use words changes the way we frame things in our mind. Google Sapir-Whorf if you don't believe me. It's science.
No, thank you.
So when we use words to describe adult women that are typically used to describe children, it changes the way we view women, even unconsciously.
You see, I'm kind of torn in two here. I understand what the point is that you're trying to make, and I know where you're going to go. You're going to go with the inferior line. Women are inferior if they're being talked down to as if they're children, or being addressed as if they are children to begin with. But I think there are many different scenarios that would certainly negate that. For example, two young people, one goes, "Hey girl." I can't do it. My voice doesn't. It just won't let me. But I think you know what I mean. There are some scenarios that would certainly indicate that the inferiority that you're going to imply or outright state isn't entirely true.
So that we don't equate them with adult men. In fact, it implies that they're inferior to men.
This will be a lot simpler when I rule the world with an iron fist. Like my own actual living iron fist, because I can't be bothered to do any of the actual work involved in ruling and killing all of you. Because all I'll have to do is rule the world and treat you all as plebs. Okay, I'll have some wenches, but mostly plebs.
Even if that's not what most people intend, words have an impact on our unconscious.
That is very true. I would take it one step further and say that if a word is used to the point where the word loses meaning, new words have to be introduced or appropriated that can carry similar meaning so that that can be used in the original word's place because the original word has no value. I love language. It has the potential to evolve, grow, and redefine, as long as old words with old meanings aren't being taken, twisted, misused, and contorted, and abused by people who don't truly understand what they're doing, or the harm they're causing with the word that they have misappropriated.
Case in point. You would never say to someone, go ask that boy behind the bank counter if the notary's here today. We never call men boys because it's demeaning and emasculating.
Both points you made in that little sentence are actual bullshit. No jokes, bullshit. Okay, your example can be used, most likely by pensioners, but to say that guys don't get called boy is actual bullshit. Have you ever been on a building site? Have you ever been or seen or interacted with guys from different generations? The word boy does come up. It's just one of those things that you don't seem to pay attention to because you live in a little bubble. And it's apparent you live in a bubble because you're pushing this shit.
And are there women who don't mind being seen as diminutive because they think that men should be in charge and that they should be tender and delicate?
Yes. Take this lady, for example.
Remember, every one of us women need to do our part for the patriarchy. The real patriarchy, that is.
See, that's one happy customer to the Cthulhu patriarchy, willing to surrender because she knows her place is in my kitchen.
Of course.
I am so glad we can agree on something, but unlike you, I'm not going to make excuses for why they exist.
And there are all kinds of men and women, and I promise, that's okay.
Very true. There are just no guys that get called boy, according to you, which you're wrong about. Congratulations.
But to these women, I would say the following.
Girls, take note. You are about to be spoken down to in a very condescending manner. Would you rather this, or have me mansplain to you what she's going to say? Please let me know in the comments below.
There is a thing that happens when we grow up in the kind of male-centered culture that we live in.
Oh, fuck, I can't beat this. I honestly didn't believe for a second that you'd be another one of these idiots in Hollywood that falls for this rhetoric. It's all male-centered, it's all male-dominated. You live in Hollywood. Hollywood's a meritocracy. Fuck. And what's worse is Hollywood is pushing, forcing, force-feeding, perpetuating this social justice bullshit.
We start to believe that the way things are is the way they have to be. We start taking on the biases and judgments of women which have been in place since an historical time when women weren't respected or even allowed into the public sphere. The terms we're using for women are outdated and insensitive.
I'm far less inclined to tolerate feels before reals. And what I mean is you mention the insensitive terminology used by some, and yet offence is so easily taken in current year. It's an ongoing trend, to be honest, over the last few years, with people getting offended when you misgender them, mislabel them.
And they assume a structure of power where men are on the top and women are on the bottom.
In the United States and the United Kingdom, it has been noticed and pointed out repeatedly that women are a protected class. They are elevated in academia, courtesy of affirmative action, and the same for employment, and they are a protected class under law, with laws being specifically targeted towards them, even when it is proven that men can be victims of the same crime, even when the law doesn't recognize it, which it should. What you are pushing is actual shit.
And in certain eras and in certain parts of this country and the world, this kind of thinking has persisted for far longer than it should have.
Perhaps I could offer you a solution then. Firstly, don't push the narrative that women are less than equal to a man in your own country. Legally, you are equal to a man. There's no denying it. Whoever says you are less than a man is talking shit. Don't push the pay gap. Don't push rape culture. Don't push patriarchy. It's all nonsense in your country. It's nonsense. Instead, campaign and promote equality in countries where it is obviously non-existent. That way you don't look like so much of a fucking idiot when you are telling a girl or a woman to get triggered or butthurt or not to get butthurt, or try and tell guys to not call someone something because they might get triggered or butthurt.
And we know better now. It's up to us to change this narrative.
You are quite right. It is up to us, keyboard warriors and skeptic clones alike, to change the narrative that idiots like you perpetuate on a daily basis under the name of feminism and whatever other movements you support that are biased as fuck.
To those of you who call women girls, I say this.
So to everyone, get your notepads out or your tablets and pull up the Notepad app and get ready to take down valuable advice.
I know your intentions are probably good, but I hope you can learn to see the unintended and negative impact your words can have. And if you're feeling confused about whether or not to call someone a girl, let me help you out.
You're trying to tell people not to call women girls because you might offend them, and yet you are talking to people that may well get offended that you're trying to tell them how to speak. Who takes precedence in the offense chain here? I am curious.
Decide if the human being in front of you is in fact a girl. Indications that she may in fact be a woman are a high school diploma, a job, a car she pays insurance on, a mortgage, a home she calls her own, or a 401k.
I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news here, Miss Bialik, but I have to throw a slight spanner in the works. You see, courtesy of a patron, I was very recently introduced to the idea of trans age. This is where someone, an adult, believes that they are a child and that their age is not their biological age but an age that they believe is their true age. For example, a 52-year-old man believing he is a 6-year-old girl. That of course adds an entirely different element to the equation and also makes what you've said before null and void if we are to respect everyone's expression.
Girls tend to be under the age of 18 and typically live with their parents. Being a mom is usually a very strong indication that someone is in fact a woman.
I am not going to repeat what I've already said, so instead I'm simply going to say, fuck, you're a genius.
And the thing we need to start doing as women, and for those of you out there who may not be women but who know and love women, is to consistently, gently, kindly, and politely correct people when they call women girls.
I am all for being polite when disagreeing with each other, so I politely disagree with you. I would not encourage people to police what other people say. You are free to choose the language you use. Whether I choose to associate with you is a different matter entirely, and that's how you should take it. If someone is unwilling to change according to how you want to live, why would you want them in your life? Of course, if you're so easily offended that somebody has kinda misgendered you, mislabeled you, I think it shows how shallow you are to begin with, girl.
I've found a few ways to do this that only make people hate me after I walk away. To my face, they seem pretty receptive to it.
You don't think it has anything to do with you being exceptionally wealthy, do you? Or maybe that you're speaking to people that are considered subordinates to you while on the set, do you?
When someone refers to someone as a girl and I know she's a woman, I'll say so. I'll sometimes say things like, she's got a full-time job and 150 people on payroll. I'm pretty sure she's a woman. And I'll smile. Because you get more flies with honey.
If I could find where I put my effort, I would use it to pick up seasons 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 of The Big Bang Theory and put them in the microwave. That smile was so annoying.
And who knows, maybe if we start using language that elevates women and doesn't equate them with sweet, small, cuddly, tender things, we'll start treating them as more than that as well.
I must be one of the world's biggest misogynists, because cuddly is something I like. Cute, lovely, funny, intelligent, all desirable traits. Those that you didn't mention that typically feature in the and more are rude, obnoxious, arrogant, brash, abusive, violent. Non-desirable traits. So if you want women to be more, by all means you can be that, but much like speech and me choosing what I do and do not say, I'm also allowed to choose who I do and do not associate with or want to be involved with. That is the price of a free society, where we are free to choose what we say and who we associate with. Thank you all for listening.
Are you watching?
Oh, that's my favorite. That's my best friend too.
Oh my god, Cthulhu!
Hi, Cthulhu. It's been a
Thank
while.
you, Logic.
You keep trying to break into my house.
You are a really
You keep
shitty
getting your fucking tentacles in
ventriloquist.
the frame, dude.
Well, no shit, I'm a wizard.
Yeah, well,
I'm not a magician.
wizard with his hand up Omegon's ass.
Dear Magog, the next time you decide to stick your hand up my bottom while I'm on my day off, you had better buy me dinner first, or I'm going to take your loose wizard sleeves and wrap them round your fucking throat. You annoying little bitch.